Agriculture, livestock, and agri-food industry are key sectors for the economy and rural development in Castilla y León. Castilla y León holds leadership position at a national level in many crops and livestock production. Furthermore, our food industry ranks third within Spanish regions. Our generous land, our productivity system, and commitment and expertise of our professionals involved in this primary production and transformation continuously help in making the leadership position a reality. But the question we ask ourselves today is, how can we continue being leaders in these sectors? It's no easy task to do. We have a highly competitive and globalized market. We have strict regulations and we have highly demanding consumers. The Regional Minister of Agriculture, Livestock and Rural Development in Castilla y León trusts research, technology, innovation and technology transfer as our best allies to overcome this challenge. Currently, we are immersed in the digitalization and 4.0 revolution era, and Castilla y León's agriculture, livestock and agri-food industry may be up to it in order to remain competitive. For this reason, the Regional Minister of Agriculture, Livestock and Rural Development in Castilla y León, through the Agrarian Technology Institute of Castilla y León, ITACIL, is working on research, innovation and technologies such as digitalization to achieve more efficient and sustainable agri-food value chain. The implementation of new technologies may increase the interest for young girls and especially women in this sector. And on the other hand, it helps providing better quality, safer, healthier and sustainable food products. Therefore, we consider digital innovation hub and livestock environment, agriculture and forest to be an excellent project for rural development in Castilla y León. For this reason, ITACIL are already involved in this digitalization project as a partner. Under an open model, we put our effort to collaborate in those projects which increase wealth and chances for economic, environmental and social sustainability at the rural environment. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
Good afternoon. My name is Gonzalo Carmona. I'm going to present the last session on innovation and entrepreneurship in rural territories. I am founder and vice president of Territorio Emprendimiento, which is an NGO with more than 400 entrepreneurs, mostly in the rural areas. Also, we are engaged in the initiative Startup Village, and we started in a small town in Burgos that is called Villao, where after 2 years of work, we have done many things, creating an ecosystem of entrepreneurs and incubating many entrepreneurs. Now, on this session, we have 5 great guest speakers. I'm gonna give them the floor to them in the order that we have on the list. First of all, I am very happy to be part of the birth of DIH-LEAF. In fact, Startup Village with the municipality of Lerma, we are part and we are member of the DIH-LEAF because we believe that digitalization is at the bottom of the pyramid of innovation and entrepreneurship. For this reason, we are really engaged in this movement, and we hope to develop the movement with them in the next years. No, as I told you, it's very appropriate that we had in the demonstrations, we had the demonstration of a very nice entrepreneur that is a new NetWave, that is Luis Martinez. We believe that digitalization, we need connectivity beforehand, otherwise there won't be digitalization and innovation. For this reason, we in the project that we launched in Villao, the first thing in order to create the incubator and the co-working, it was through allowing the fiber optics into the connectivity. There is no innovation and there is no entrepreneurship if there is no connectivity. Okay, we have, as I told you, 5 guest speakers. We have Toma Sutic, that is member of the cabinet of Dubravka, Šuica, vice president for demography and democracy. In fact, she was 1 year ago visiting us in Castilla y León and in Villao in our co-working. We were very happy to have her. Then we will have Marion Eckardt, that is the European leader, is the president of the European Leader Association, ELARD. And then we will have Fabio Boscaleri, that is coming from the European region, strong innovation in agriculture, food and forestry, ERIAFF. Then we will have from another nice association that is Global Startup Cities, that is Dimitar, Vasilev. And the last but not least is Javier Ruiz from the LAC AGALSA. So I give you the floor, Toma. Nice having you here, and welcome for the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gonzalo, and thank you for the invitation to join you here today. It is really a pleasure to be with you today and to talk about this very important topic of innovation and entrepreneurship in rural territories. Our Vice President Šuica pointed out in her opening address this morning that innovation will actually be driving force behind our European green and digital transitions. And this is true everywhere. Innovation is going to drive our transitions, but it is critical that we also make sure that it holds true in our rural areas. We know that many of our rural areas are facing a lot of challenges, and these challenges are rather diverse. In some areas, we talk about population decline and aging as biggest concerns. In others, it's transportation and connectivity. Lack of infrastructure or not having childcare facilities is also a problem somewhere else. And this is why the approach to solving these challenges has to be diversified and adjusted to the realities on the ground. And this is where actually we believe that innovators and entrepreneurs come in, because they are best placed to address local issues, because they live in the local communities and know about these challenges from their first-hand experience. They can drive and create solutions that are best placed to address the needs of the communities. And also we can then use this to take these approaches all over Europe. And for us as policymakers, we are there to ensure that there is an environment that is conducive and as conducive as possible for the innovators to thrive and to formulate their ideas in a scalable way. And then those ideas can, of course, be taken to market by our entrepreneurs. This is also why, as policymaker, European Commission will come out with a long-term vision for rural areas that the Vice President already mentioned. We are developing this long-term vision for rural areas with rural areas and making sure that nobody is left behind. For us, it's very important to have the engagement and partnership between all of the agricultural stakeholders, businesses, and innovators. And with the long-term vision for rural areas, we want to ensure that we have a constant flow and exchange of knowledge and good practices, and these innovative approaches are continuously shared. Now, as you mentioned, Gonzalo, digital connectivity is a precondition for any further development. We have seen also the presentation of the new net wave a few moments ago, but we also saw from that presentation that a lot more work is needed to have better digital connectivity everywhere. But we need to go much beyond the digital connectivity, and we need to create a new momentum to activate all of the funding possibilities. At the EU level, we will do this through the long-term vision for rural areas. Now, we will look at the various policies that we have at the EU level through the eyes of the rural areas and see how we can make them more adapted to the needs of our rural populations. We'll take a look at and see how we can create more synergies between the different EU funds, because we have the Common Agriculture Policy, the Horizon Europe, the Cohesion Policy. We need to make sure that they all work together. You know very well that under the new Horizon program, we have a cluster on food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, and the environment. And you also know that the Digital Europe program is there and plays its major role. But as I said at the beginning, it's all about the innovators and the entrepreneurs. And you are the ones who should create the innovation ecosystems in your own areas. And here I would also like to recognize the work that is done in Spain on this already. As you mentioned, we have startup villages, we have the global startup cities. We also had the Reina initiative of the startup Ole. And now we have this important digital innovation hub on livestock, environment, agriculture, and forest. So all of these are really excellent examples of the efforts to really provide good opportunities to get businesses up and running and drive employment and growth in these areas. I think these examples showcase also how it's important to work on the links between urban areas and rural areas, because we are all connected. So I must say that we at the Commission look at these initiatives with great hopes, and we are grateful also for all of the efforts that you are doing and making our innovators and entrepreneurs thrive. As I said before, we will, as policymakers, do our part as well, and we will contribute to making rural areas more attractive to innovation through the long-term vision, but also through other policies. And we need to do this at the national, regional, and local level as well. Thank you very much for having me here. It's really a pleasure, and I look forward to learning more from you today. Thanks.
Thank you, Toma. Okay. Yes, Marion, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me and letting me be part of this interesting panel and discussion. My name is Marion Eckardt, and I am the president of ELARD. And ELARD is a network of more than 2,200 local action group, and we have 26 members that are leader networks that are from different countries in our network, and have a long reach. And the local action groups, they work with the leader method, and as I'm not sure how much you know about it, I wanted to tell you that the leader method is a method that has matured for now 30 years and can and will deliver in the areas where it is implemented in the right way. Of course, everything can be done badly, even the leader method, but if we do it in a good way, we will also deliver results. The leader method has 7 principles, but what is interesting is not the principles, but what we deliver. For example, if we talk about democracy and education, we deliver participatory democracy on the local level, where people can participate in decision around the strategy, in how to implement the strategy, in how to evaluate the strategy. And also we foster a culture of promoting identity and knowledge transfer. Leader can deliver on the labor market and in socio-political functions as well. Most leader projects are actually aimed at creating jobs. We are very active in tourism, in regional products, in many different areas where jobs are created. And we are also we have this social function of inviting the underrepresented people like women, maybe in this panel, into the decision-making group. We also have an economic policy function where we promote circular economy and also regional products and regional value chains. And I wanted to talk a little bit especially around the innovation, where we promote technological innovation and as a means of ecological modernization mainly, but the strength of Leader is actually the social innovation, where there are reforms by the people for the people concerned. And Leader acts in this way as a laboratory for innovations with the goal of diversifying the rural economy. And we are also active on environment and climate policy, of course. We have seen also that the Leader and the local action groups have been very quick in acting in the crisis. First on the refugee crisis, we were on the front line in rural areas, and also now in the current crisis, the LAGs have been, we have done a survey on the LAGs, what they were doing, and they were like, food packaging for older people, they were volunteering in hospitals, they were doing services for local schools. LAGs have been around and helping people getting digital in the beginning, where we were not used to having meetings like this. So they are at the very front lines in the crisis and transformation. And then the last point, which is important also, is that the local action groups are actually, we have the possibility to bring the European policy to the very local level. And this goes for the long-term vision on rural areas, where local action groups have been very strong in giving in their ideas. But we are also now starting to see how a local action group can be active in the conference on the future of Europe, because rural areas are also part of the future, I think. So yeah, that is what the Leader can do. And I wanted also to tell you a little bit about shortly about the results that we had on the macro survey that we did last summer, where we asked the future on which future, we asked the members of which future do you want in rural areas, and we translated this multiple choice questionnaire to 20 different languages. We couldn't translate it to more because we had chosen a program that had this limitation, we realized, but we got still 3,436 answers from 26 different countries, and the main conclusions I want to share with you. And one is that rural citizens ask still for basic services and employment opportunities, greater job opportunities, a decent employment gets 80.2% when the members, the participants are asked, looking 15 years ahead, what 3 things would you like to see happen? Then the greater jobs and decent employment is the most important, followed by transportation and accessibility to services comparable to those of cities. And when we look at the services that people are interested in, it's not the consumer services, it's the basic services. It is health and care, it is education, care services for elderly independence, connectivity, and affordable housing. Not all actually really replaceable with digital services, but can be enhanced with digital innovations. The second conclusion that we have is that it's time to change the narrative, because we easily fall into this vocabulary that rural areas are in need and we need to help them, and we believe no, maybe the rural areas are not the dependents of the urban areas, and on the contrary, both urban and rural areas are necessary to create a viable Europe, and it is important, I think, to engage with the rural actors to describe the reality of rural areas, because we believe that the pandemic has shown with desired clarity that we live in functional territories where all actors and geographical areas are equally important for our resilience. And however, we have not yet been able to transport this into policy that invests as much into our rural citizens and places as in our urban detours. And now it is time for a change, I think, when we have all this awareness of what the rural areas actually are bringing to our society. And then, of course, this questionnaire showed also that Leader and CLLD has a huge support. 97% of the survey participants are very, very positive to this methodology. But I won't go too far into that. But it's, of course, a really nice thing to see. And our vision for the future in ELARD is that this is what we have decided on between our members, is that we want to see a viable Europe through local democracy and participatory approaches in all rural areas and beyond. We don't only want to see a viable rural Europe, we want to see a viable Europe, and we think rural areas are the basis for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marion. Very interesting. Now let's pass the floor to Fabio. Please, Fabio.
Hello, good morning. Thank you, Gonzalo. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
I share the screen. Hope it works. I have a short presentation. And yeah, thank you, first of all, for having me here and having ERIAFF in the panel list. I will describe you quickly what ERIAFF is. So it is a network, as you introduced it. It is a network of regions. So we started this network in 2012 as a network devoted to innovation, agriculture, food, and forestry. For that, we have this acronym, and we created this on the basis of an informal agreement among regions participating to this platform. You can see here that since 2012, where we started with about 24 regions together signing the first, let's say, agreement to work together, now we count on 88 partners. We have members, full members, let's say we call 50, and 38 observers from 19 European countries, and we have also someone outside the European Union. And so this is to tell you that at the time when we started this, there was a need for regions to think and collaborate around the issue of innovation. Why? Because in 2012, there was the launch of the EAP Agri, and there was the preliminary activities of the EAP Agri that was then actually launched in 2014 with the last, let's say, at the beginning of the last programming period. And so, as regions, we saw a gap in this, and we understood there was the need for this place for collaborating. So, to go to the next slide, I don't know, yeah, it moves. So ERIAFF allowed these regions to organize around these dynamic networks that could touch different aspects that we cover broadly: innovation in agriculture, food, and forestry, and how we organize it to have this information flow and enable this collaboration among regions. When I say regions, I mean actual regional governments and also stakeholders of regional governments. So we have in our membership also innovation clusters. We have some digital innovation hub, and we are glad now that in Castilla y León we have DIH-LEAF that is connected to also ERIAFF. And you can see here in the slide that we organize ERIAFF around some working groups. And you can see that Castilla y León as a region is involved in the forested regions working group. So this is a very active working group that every 2 years we organize a European workshop on forest-based innovation. And so around this organization, we have a coordination committee. We work through thematic workshops on different themes. I told you about forest innovation, but we work also on other themes. And we are active in S3 partnerships. You can see here that some of the region, in this case Tuscany and Östergötland, I'm from Tuscany, and Tuscany is coordinating this network, but is also active in the working group. So we have this connection through S3 partnership. S3 is a smart specialization strategies for those who are not aware of this. And so we also try to promote collaboration around projects, European projects, like the case of Horizon Europe. And you have here 3 projects where ERIAFF had a role. 2 projects are closed, Agrispin and Rosewood, and Nefertiti is still ongoing. And we are actively participating to this network, which is, by the way, for promoting demonstration farms and the role of demonstration farms in AKIS system. So with this picture, you can understand that the ERIAFF network is, even if it's targeting collaboration of European regions, is particularly focusing on project collaboration. So we try to collaborate and to enable our members and our innovation ecosystems to facilitate production of project-oriented activities. In doing so, we enabled also collaboration with several organizations, and of course with the European Commission, and we are collaborating with several DGs, Agri, RTD, Regio, and JRC. This based on activities, specific working groups we have. But we collaborate with Committee of the Region and the European Economic and Social Committee. We have some activities specifically for digitalization, and we collaborate with other networks such as Nereus network, which is for a network of regions for space technologies. We collaborate with the ERANET, EUFRIN, Plant Intercluster, with several collaborations are in place. And then, as I were attending also track 2 for this event for the forestry, bioeconomy, and environment, we have these collaborations, particularly with the forest sector, with the main European stakeholder and players like European Forest Institute, Euromontana, Eustafor, Copa Cogeca, and CPF, but also with other networks like ERIN and JPI FACE. How we work? So we said we are an informal network. So we accept membership from regional authorities with competences on rural and regional development in general. we can also accept participation of administrative regions, let's say where we don't have administrative regions. So in some countries, this is not the case. We accept other kind of organisms, such as sub-regional level of authorities, but also regional development organization and a cluster, or anyway, other aggregation of territorial organization. This is it for my presentation, and I would like maybe to stop so the sharing screen, and just few comments on things that have been said. Something have been said about synergies, also by Mr. Sutic. This is very important, and we see that there is still a gap in creating synergies. Particularly, I mentioned the smart specialization, and not by chance, because it's a very promising policy tool for fostering this kind of collaboration among regional ecosystems. But there is still a lot to do to allow, in this case, regional government, regional authorities to align policy tools to support, in this case, for example, interregional investments and interregional, let's say, better expenditure of funds among regions. I hope that this new programming period can offer new opportunities for doing so, and I hope that through ERIAFF, regions can continue to collaborate and find room for these new approaches for fundings, but not only. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, for sharing my thoughts, and thank you again.
Thank you, Fabio. We will see the comments later with Toma about these remarks that you were addressing. Okay, let's move on now. Let's welcome to the floor to Dimitar. Vasilev, please.
Hello. For me, it's an honor to be with you today on this very important and valuable event. I will use my time to share with you 3 inputs that we have for territory development and bottom-up European innovation area. First one is the bottom-up European innovation area imposed by cities, villages, and remote areas from all over the world, with Europe as zero zone. It is leading the long-term vision for rural area with the global EU campaign for Rural 5.0 vision to attract private supports for the entrepreneurs in rural and remote areas, published on September 9, officially launched by Vice President Šuica on November 25, 2020 at Global Startup City Summit. That is our first input. Second one is same opportunity for any entrepreneurs and innovators, wherever you are, cities, villages, and remote areas. On behalf of the bottom-up European innovation area, we would like to share the following transversal and cross-cutting issue, challenge. Same opportunity for any entrepreneurs and innovators, whatever you are, cities, villages, and remote areas. For example, especially in rural and remote areas, entrepreneurs and local authorities have many difficulties to manage directly the public funding for their urgent needs. Idea: two simple action to empower. With all this, the future is yours. That is that input with all this, the future is yours. 2 simple action to empower the future is yours, to have the same opportunity in any EU corners. First one, the local authorities can apply directly to EU public funding. It will be used in a smart way because they know the local needs and they have a direct communication with the entrepreneurs and innovators as well. For example, instead of spending 3 times in instead of spending 3 times in energy efficiency measure in the same years, it can be diversified for supporting local businesses. That is the first action. That is the second action is European Innovation Council Accelerator Fund, to create a local quota for entrepreneurs and innovators in rural and remote areas based on the success of the gender quota for women entrepreneurs and innovators. That was the two simple actions that we can use to empower the future is yours. Okay. Third input is resources. Third input is resources strategy. To have research infrastructure in strategies, rural areas, facilities, to conduct research, to foster innovation and education, and to have synergy maps of EU research institution outside of urbanized areas, European research area by 2024. I was short, and that is my thought today. Okay, thank you about the time.
Thank you, Dimitar. Okay, last but not least, we have Javier from AGALSA, that is the local action group in Burgos. Welcome, Javier.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for inviting us. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Javier Ruiz, and I'm representing AGALSA. AGALSA is a local action group here in Burgos. We work for the development of this area in La Sierra de la Demanda. Let me give you some figures. We represent 13% of Burgos territory, around 9,500 people living in this area, 2,000 square kilometers area, and the density of population is 4.8. That means we are part of the southern sparsely populated area in Europe. The economy of the area is based mainly in the industry related to the natural resources like wood, agriculture, but in the last years we've realized there is an increase in the rest of the economy related especially to services. Up to 55% of the economy at the moment is down to services. Innovation, the introduction of new things, ideas, or ways of doing something different. We believe that is necessary. It is necessary to change. It's necessary to try new projects, to do it different. And that's why a year and a half ago, this project, the Digital Valley, started in a meeting that took place in Salas de los Infantes between a local businessman and some young people from Salas, where the manager of AGALSA was also present. We are now over 800 volunteers who are working on 29 different initiatives, all related to different aspects of what we would like to see our territory become in the near future. The main line of action is the digitalization, obviously. That covers from applying the latest technology in local enterprises, the use of apps that make life easier for the local people, the use of technology to bring training, education, and professional development of the people of La Sierra. We are even working on creating a Fab Lab where the local entrepreneurs and local companies could build and test their own prototypes. Another group of volunteers are working on housing. There's a problem here with the renting of houses. Anyway, we innovate. We do things different. We bring different ways of life, like co-living spaces, co-housing spaces. And related to our entrepreneurs, we've just created 3 spaces, co-working spaces in La Sierra de la Demanda, which I would like to show you a very nice video, which is like less than 2 minutes. And you can have a look and see what it's like. Thank you. That shows you a little bit of what a co-working space is. There are 3 city councils actually in the program, but some others have shown interest in becoming what we call the largest co-working space in the world.
Thank you very much, Javier. Very nice, interesting initiative. Okay, so now if you have any questions that we want to address among them ourselves is fine. I would like to say something, no? That Marion was saying that we need to find a Europe that is viable, that is not digital in a sense that is not rural or city, no? I think as entrepreneurs or as citizens, we don't care that being rural or being city. We are all citizens with the same rights, and we have to, in this way, we have to change the narrative as well. No, I agree with you, Marion, that and we have to be optimistic. And the way of approaching this new narrative is to be more entrepreneur. I think we are in a great, we are in great villages, in great cities, in great countries, and in a great Europe. No, but we have to find and create those ecosystems that allow to foster the talent that is inside our neighborhoods, but also to attract new one. I think is one of the challenges that we have. Sometimes we forget about the new people who can help us to shape the new future. And I think we should be addressing that and try to attract them. No, I find many companies nowadays that they don't have people. Well, they are old. They want to get retirement, and they don't find someone to leave the company. And I say, hey, we need to try to lure your company and to be sexy in order to attract new talent and in order to go further. No, so. One of the things that we were talking is that also to scale up. I agree with you, Toma, that we should be able to scale up all these good initiatives in order to allow the learning curve to be down. No, sometimes the learning curve takes us so much time that we need to learn from others. No, I think the European Union is in this phase, and we should be able to learn from each other. No, another thing that we were happy to learn that when we started in a very small town that is Villahoz, is that we need to find the scale in the heads of the sub-regions. Is one of the things that I would like to address with you, with Fabio, and also with Marion, and also as well with Vasilev, no, is how we can have this attraction of big neighborhoods in order to allow the other territories to go hand by hand in order to foster and to do rural development. No, so if you want, any of you can. I brought many things into the floor, and if you want, maybe Toma, you can start since you were the first one.
Well, thank you, Gonzalo. Indeed, you brought in a lot of things, and also a lot of things came out in the discussions. And I think this notion of rural areas being the co-creators and positive co-creators also resonates very well with us. And I think this is also behind some of our ideas on the long-term vision for rural areas. So I think that is important, that we all are in the boat together, and we need to kind of make it happen together. And as you said, the highest quality of life is in rural areas for all of us. And that's why it's very important to continue to invest there. And I think two more things that I wanted to kind of invite everybody is really to think big. This is what we are seeing excellent examples here of real success stories, and we really want to see them be brought to the European stage and applied across in Europe. So my invitation and my call to all of you is really to think big, to dream big, and to continue to connect. You know, use Marion, use ELARD as a network that really connects across Europe, and bring these good examples and share the values that you are proposing here. I think this would be something that I would see as really beneficial. And then perhaps one more thing to say, going back to what Fabio was saying on funding, because there's always somehow, we from the European Commission always somehow get this question of funding. How do we get more funding? I think the question is actually for all of us in a way. We need to together reflect on what would be the most appropriate ways. In the long-term vision for rural areas, we are going to bring a toolbox that will allow people to think about, you know, what are all of the funding opportunities, but it will still be the local actors that are going to need to go around and connect these dots. We will give you the roadmap, but the work will still need to be done by the local actors. And of course, we know that it's important that we give you the roadmap, and we know that it's important to open up the space to that. And we will continue to try and simplify things from our level and make it easier for access. Yeah, those would be some thoughts, not to expand too much. I could go for a long time about this topic.
Okay, maybe Fabio or Marion?
Thank you. I'm just grabbing the word. Yes, all very interesting, but I just need to continue talking with Toma, because it is so interesting also this, we have had a thematic working group on the long-term vision on rural areas, and we have had like working groups coming out of that working group, and one very interesting which I was in was the one with the Jacques Delors Institute, Marjorie Jouen. Have you heard about it already, Toma? It is the proposal of a rural semester inside the European semester planning, and I think that is a great idea, because then we are not like going into, oh, we need to rural proofing, but we are already in all the time planning with, and I hope that could be a possibility to go on, even though of course the work has to be done on local level, and we really support that, because we see that rural areas are very diverse. I cannot even say that the best quality of life is in rural areas. Yes, in some rural areas, in some other it's not good, just as it is in cities. So yeah, I really support that. That's all I wanted to say right now. Anyway.
Maybe I can follow up on that, and also on the things that Mr. Sutic said. From my experience and the experience we have in ERIAFF, we have to separate, I think, two different layers, because there is, if we discuss about innovation here, it's true that it's up to local actors, because you cannot impose innovation. Innovation is coming from the experience, from the ground, from mistakes. And what we see is that even if we have a lot of, I call it energy, but let's say we have positive willingness from actors to collaborate, we have tools, of course, that are good at European level, local level. There are a set of tools for helping entrepreneurs to move on their ideas. But at a certain point, if we want to scale up at European level and have this capability of taking a good example from one place to another, it's not just a matter of knowledge exchange. That's sometimes it's you have the solution that is ready and you want to give this solution to someone else. And this is one layer. You have the solution ready and you want to transfer this solution. And this could be easily become, let's say, an entrepreneurial business. You don't have to go there and help. But if you look at co-creation and working together at these solutions and having an impact at European level, at this moment you have still gaps in the system we have it in Europe, because we should have more, I would say, sandboxes for these innovators to really experiment without worrying or without, they have to care, of course, but we have too many rules yet, not enough sandboxes for our territories to really collaborate. And still we fear at the local level, authority, regional authority, to have mistakes, to have maybe administrative things that are not properly run. And then you tend to defend yourself. And I have several examples in the S3. We have good ideas, entrepreneurs and actors around the table for fostering innovative projects, but when it comes then to the tools, we have to go, everyone have to go to their regional ecosystem to ask for maybe some support, and we have this scattered environment, and then the puzzle is not composing. And so I hope, for example, these new tools, for example, the I3, this innovation interregional investment program, can help somehow to create this sandbox to experiment. But I think there could be something maybe in the new programming that could help regions and member states to facilitate this this approach without having to be much worried about mistakes and then maybe a small part, not of course the mainstreaming, where we have to solve a lot of problems at present. That's it that I want to say and share.
Yeah, that can be a good idea, no? Try to promote sandbox who can help, no, to shape new ideas and new businesses. Also, I find in the territories many entrepreneurs who would like to put in place their ideas or their companies in another place, no? So maybe, you know, with the appropriate funding, you know, we can also try to bring new things in another territories within the experience in one territory, no? And doing like a spin-off or getting funding, no? What do you think about this, Javier? What about the talent in your place in Sierra de la Demanda?
That's one of the main reasons why we went ahead and decided to build this networking centers for co-working. Obviously, historically here in the Burgos area, well, in the whole of Spain, I would say, talent had to go to the cities. That's where the money was. That's where the factories, the industry. But now, innovation is not only in the industry at the moment. Innovation could be in healthcare, as we see every day, in culture, in any way. So that's why we went ahead and built these places. Obviously, we don't want our young, talented people to go, but we also want the ones who went away, they can have it in space to come back and carry on their businesses if they are applicable to our area. And also other people, as you were saying, Gonzalo, who can easily copy their business and bring it over to the Sierra de la Demanda. Sometimes they don't realize that there is a market in the rural areas. There are people. I mean, there's some of us who live here.
Javier, if you realize during the COVID, it seems that many diaspora entrepreneurs who went to the city now are coming back, no? And in a certain way, as Toma was saying, because of the quality of life, no? And they realize, hey, I can do my job. And the new rural entrepreneurs, no, coming from the city and bringing new blood and new businesses as well, no? Or moving back and forth, no? And that's the question.
A pendular, yes, like a pendular, yes.
I would like a pendular, no? The thing that I would like to ask Dimitar, no? How, because the cities, Dimitar, I believe, have played a key role on the development of the world, I believe, no? People don't go to the cities because they think they are going to have more chances, even though now I think those chances can be in any place, no? An entrepreneur can move freely, and because of the connectivity, you can develop your own business anywhere, no? But Dimitri, how can cities help rural areas, or how can we create a territorial entrepreneurial area, no? How do you think we can do it? Oh, Dimitar is not. Oh,
No, he's not here. He's
okay, so
having
we need
connection.
to answer by ourselves.
I think, for example, we are also working on the silver economy. That's a new reality. It's a new certain amount of people who are in the 50s, 60s. They have quite a good, well, money, and they can retire earlier. They can go to a rural area, but they will need services, and they are ready and willing to pay for them. So that is another opportunity for businesses to open.
Of course, is the thing you were saying, Marion, the diversified economy, no? When we think about rural development, we always think about the forest, about agriculture, but there are much more things, and many, even, you know, you were saying, no? In Sierra de Demanda, 50% is service economy, no? And service economy is the economy of the European Union, no? It's not anymore agriculture, it's not anymore, but we need to work on that, no? I believe, and try to find new niches of attracting and setting the young people there, no? Okay, so you want to say anything else? We are on time. We have 1 more minute.
Yeah. I just want to add also, of course, I think I think all local action groups are actually working not with agriculture or forestry. Those are not our biggest economical sectors, but with other entrepreneurs. And this is a huge market as well. And what we have seen in Sweden is that we have a support system for entrepreneurs that is the same all over Sweden, and we have investigated why that does not work for entrepreneurs who are based in rural areas. And it's actually just as simple as it's the geographical distance. We need to go out and be close to the entrepreneurs wherever they are and go and seek them up, because that's what happened in the more denser populated areas. It's more easy to find them, and we need to do that footwork on the local level. The LAGs can do it, but we also need other actors that do that. So I think that is the main way to support entrepreneurs and innovators, to find them and be there where they are.
Yeah, and empower them, no, as well, no? Mm-hmm. Okay, so any closing remarks, Fabio and Toma?
I don't have any specific close. I just want to thank you. I think it was really fruitful discussion and sharing of ideas. Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you also from my
let's
side.
keep in touch, because I believe, you know, one thing is to find the entrepreneur, and another thing is to put him in an ecosystem. No, I think ecosystems are very worthwhile, because it's the way to empower and to go further, no? So thank you very much for being here, and let's keep in touch. I'm proud to be rural. Okay, thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you, bye.
Bye.